It's really good. A lot of people think that without meat, you don't get enough protein.
Yeah. I'm 22 years vegan, damn strong, you know?
A estimativa é que no mundo inteiro, mais de 80 milhões de pessoas hoje se considerem veganas.
Food is already political. It is never, ever just personal.
Food heals.
I do believe what we're doing matters.
É muito bom. Se antigamente se tornar vegano era uma decisão um tanto quanto alternativa, hoje a gente está falando de uma indústria que movimenta mais de 25 bilhões de dólares, que tem milhões de adeptos no mundo inteiro. E esse número parece que vai dobrar nos próximos 5 anos. Agora, os motivos por trás dessa decisão variam. Muita gente se sente solidária aos direitos dos animais, outras pessoas acreditam que essa seja uma dieta mais saudável e é claro que há também a questão ambiental, que é muito forte hoje em dia. Agora, será que o veganismo deixou de ser uma questão alimentar, uma questão relacionada a uma dieta e passou a ser um estilo de vida, um movimento? Vamos ver. I remember growing up myself, my grandmother had a passion for cooking. And even though I learned nothing at all, I remember sort of being hypnotized by that ritual. Who inspired you to even think about starting to cook, even before you decided to become a chef?
I think it was definitely my mom who placed such value on eating and eating culture and ingredients. She would go out onto the fields to get fresh lettuce or go to the farmers. And she would always point out how it tastes so much different than something you might find at a grocery store. And so that was, she always made a point, and I always felt like connected to those pleasures. They really have deeply formed me. There's a few different ways of how your heart gets broken open as a young adult. For me, art was one. When I first went to the L'Orangerie in Paris to see the Monet water lilies at 11 years old, I was crying and I didn't know why. I didn't know if I was sad or if I was happy. But it really moved me, and from then on, art became an important part of my life. And then with food, it was in a similar way of those first moments being in the kitchen and exploring certain tastes that really deeply touch you, that then for the rest of your life, you're sort of like trying to chase or recreate as a chef.
Por incrível que pareça, um dos nomes mais conhecidos no universo vegano aqui em Nova York não está dentro de um restaurante premiado. Na verdade, está aqui no Washington Square Park, nessa praça. É um cara chamado Thiru, que nasceu no Sri Lanka, está aqui em Manhattan há 25 anos servindo comida de rua vegana. Vou até lá agora. Thiru?
Yeah. How you doing?
How are you?
I'm good.
Nice to meet you.
Same here.
What do you have there? What are you opening?
This one, like a Pondicherry dosa like we make. And this is coconut chutney.
How'd you learn how to cook?
Oh, learned from my grandmother.
Really?
Yeah.
My grandmother was a great cook.
Yeah.
I learned nothing.
Oh, my God. This is like special grandma sauce
Wow,
with the 5 different masala and stone grind coconut.
that's beautiful.
All stone grind, yeah. And this is like a fresh veggies goes in the special pondicherry.
What's your favorite dish?
My favorite dish is dosa. That's why I start dosa.
That's why you're the dosa man.
Yeah. Dosa, I love dosa.
I was reading about veganism in America.
Yeah.
And, you know, you see more and more big chefs becoming vegan, serving vegan food in their restaurants. But every article mentions you. How does that feel?
This makes me proud and very happy. That's why I keep it simple and do the same thing what I do, you know.
What's the secret of your dosas?
Secret is the dosa is make it with the real love, you know. Yeah, I love what I do, and then like people like here, they see me like the way I work and, you know, way I talk to the people. Yeah. So they all kind of people come, and this is a fan club all around the world. So it's every day I meet people from all around the world, different people. So special pondicherry lunch you want?
Just a masala.
How spicy today? Medium spicy? Sure. It's kind of like not only selling food, it's like explaining how veganism good to the world, you know. That's why I'm happy and everyone happy, and all community here in the village, they're happy I'm here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Enjoy.
You too.
Are you a loyal customer?
Very loyal.
Yeah?
Very loyal, he says, yes.
Are you vegan? No.
No,
It's just that good.
no, it's just that good.
I don't want to do a chronological step by step, so I want to sort of fast forward to the morning when you got that review that changed your life and changed this restaurant.
I mean, along the way, you realize that it's a silly thing to name the best restaurant in the world.
You mean because it's subjective?
It is completely subjective. And then when you finally do, it's actually quite disorienting. You also don't exactly know where you're going now. So the pandemic hit, and food insecurity before the pandemic was 1 million. Within 2 weeks, that number doubled.
Oof.
2 million. I co-founded an organization called Rethink Food. This was really an organization that took food from restaurants to create meals for people in need. People working for us to prepare these meals were a lot of volunteers, and I never looked back. From then on, I was just moving towards turning 11 Madison Park into a community kitchen. And it changed my life.
What does this world look like, feel like, if vegans were a majority?
First of all, I will be doing a happy dance. I will be in heaven when that happens. But it means that people are healthier. That's the first thing for me, because, you know, I am a public health nutritionist. That's when and where I enter this conversation. So it means that people are healthier, they're living longer. It means that people have access to healthier food. And it means that animals are saved. It means that our rainforests are saved. The fish come back, the oceans are healthier. It means that we are helping to decrease the risk of climate change, global warming. I mean, it means all of those things. First, people need to recognize that they're already eating vegan food, that it's not foreign, it's familiar. If you eat fruit, if you eat vegetables, if you eat grains, if you eat beans, if you eat nuts, if you season your food with dried herbs and spices, with oil, with flour, all of that is vegan.
I love that.
You eat vegan food every day, all day long, right? You just don't think of it that way, and it's probably most of what you eat.
This one they call the Christmas lima beans. You don't need to soak. So what you do, you just take them out of the pot, saute them with garlic and onion and ginger. They're really tasty. They call the Christmas lima beans.
fat, salt, and sugar is addictive, right? Become addicted to that kind of food. The more of it we eat, the more we want to eat it. And it's cheap, it's available, it's everywhere. And I gained 25 pounds my freshman year because I was away from home, so I didn't have to eat vegetables. I could eat whatever I wanted. And I ate hamburgers and hot dogs and pizza all the time, every day. So in 9 months, I gained 25 pounds. And then Dick Gregory came and gave this lecture and made all of these connections. And eventually, one day, I don't know the date, it just clicked. You know, the momentary pleasure of a piece of cheese in my mouth is not worth the health risks or the cruelty. And that's only because I was still engaged in why I want to give it up while I was still eating it. And then finally, you know, that won out.
O Brasil já tem essa cultura de feiras com legumes e verduras há muito tempo. Na verdade, antes do início do século passado, isso já era comum no Brasil. Mas, por incrível que pareça, aqui em Nova York, isso só virou moda nos anos 80 e nos anos 90. Hoje, tirando os meses frios, você encontra mensalmente mais de 50 feiras como essa, só aqui no estado de Nova York. E hoje você tem também aplicativos que te dizem onde você encontra a melhor melancia, o melhor tomate. E essa feira aqui, essa barraca aqui, é unanimidade.
That's your flour, and those are the seeds.
I feel so dumb. I've been eating sunflower seeds my whole life. I had no idea that's how they came.
Yep, so you see, I mean, you're looking at the flour. Okay, now there's a stalk. Of course, it got cut. And these things are generally about this tall. Lots of leaves. And so the plant, to protect itself from extinction, does that. Birds, yes, Andrew's baby. And so the reproductive.
There are about 50 green markets in the state of New York, I believe, a week. You're one of the most popular farmers. Where did this interest, this wisdom that revolves around vegetables, plants, farming, where did that come from?
Very good question. All I can remember as a young kid, I liked playing with plants and gardening. And as I was contemplating careers, I had two things in mind: be like my dad, an engineer, or do farming and business. So I actually just started doing this full time.
There are so many types of foods that I eat on a daily basis, I eat all the time, that I don't really know how they're cultivated, where they come from, because I just buy it in a can. I buy it in the grocery store, and that's what I assume they're like.
Yep, and that's the genesis of a sunflower seed.
Uma coisa que o brasileiro e o americano têm em comum é a paixão pelo churrasco. E a carne é onipresente, tanto aí quanto aqui. Mas nem todo churrasco é criado igual. Agora, aqui em Bed-Stuy, esse bairro no Brooklyn, a gente encontra um lugar chamado Monk's Meat, ou Carne do Monge. Foi criado por dois chefes, o Chris e a Rebecca. E aqui, carne não entra. What converted you guys to veganism? Do you come from a vegan family?
No.
Your story is better than mine. I was like working as a bike messenger, and I was really poor.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about a lot of stuff, and I was like, well, I can't really afford to eat meat anymore. And this seems to make a lot of sense to me. So then I just stopped.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really intentional. And then I actually went to a family meal for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And had like all of this like meat and dairy, and like I didn't really want to because I hadn't been doing it for like almost 8 months or something, but I did because it was like tradition and family, and people were like, oh, you should eat this, eat this. And afterwards I felt terrible, and then I decided like intentionally to say like I'm not going to do this anymore.
What about you?
So I became vegetarian when I was 15 based off of an experience I had at a summer camp. Everything you ate that day had to come specifically from the farm. So if you wanted to eat meat, there was chickens that we had been raising all summer. And they're like, you have to kill this chicken and, you know, clean it and defeather it, do all that stuff. And I did it, and I ate that chicken and never ate meat again.
Wow.
Because it was just the experience, and the connection to that animal was like nothing I'd ever had, and I didn't think I would ever have that type of experience again, and I didn't want to, and that was part of it. It was like I couldn't imagine having that experience with an animal larger than that, and then also just, you know, being able to be connected to it, and then kind of having that whole cycle of life and experiencing that.
My grandmother, like when we told her, we used to go over to her her house for Sunday dinner after church growing up. But when my mother and one of my sisters and I had to tell her that we couldn't eat her food anymore, right? And we dreaded that conversation. And she said,
Broke her heart.
Yeah, it did, because that was one of the ways she showed love. And she said, y'all done got sanctified. That was her response. And then to my mother, she said, and Mary, you done joined them. You know, like, Mary, you should know better. So that was tough. So we still went over there for Sunday dinner, but we didn't eat. But one day, she called me up and she said, you know, I want to cook for you. And so she's like, go get all your ingredients and bring them over. So I got all my organic vegan ingredients. She made the apple pie from scratch, and we just enjoyed ourselves together. And she made me a vegan apple pie. And that's just because she wanted to see me. You know, I was an adult, and she wanted to show her love.
Yeah.
And for me, that's just
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it really was. It was, you know, she didn't have to do that. But my grandmother was in her 80s, you know? So that's what I'm saying. You don't have to lose these beautiful food connections when you go vegan and traditions. You just veganize them, right?
I love that.
And you might, your grandma might make some vegan food for you.
Os hábitos diários dos veganos vão muito além da dieta. Na verdade, a grande maioria evita usar cosméticos testados em animais e também roupas e sapatos feitos com pele. Nesse segmento da moda, um dos grandes pioneiros é, sem sombra de dúvidas, o estilista John Bartlett. What triggered that passion for animals, for dogs?
So growing up, I had dogs, and so really dogs are the gateway to nature. And so while I always loved dogs, I didn't make the connection that it was more than that. And I adopted a dog named Tiny Tim, and Tiny Tim he's in my camo. Okay. Like I loved him so much that I created a pattern with his image. And when I got him, my life changed. Having a dog in New York City is one of the greatest icebreakers, and you meet so many people, you meet so many people's dogs. And then at a certain point, a friend of mine gave me a book called The Kind Diet by Alicia Silverstone, the actress and activist. And I read this book in 2 days, and I closed the book, I'm like, boom, I'm done. And it was one of those aha moments for me. But then when I started thinking about animals in general and what they go through, whether it's for food, for fashion, for entertainment, I started getting very active in the world of animal activism. And then, being a fashion designer, I always worked in leather. But slowly I sold out of it and I stopped using it.
The reason why we started making food was because we didn't want to burden other people with like having to figure out how to make their meals vegan. And so we were just like potlucked everything and just bring the vegan food. And it turned out that like 9 times out of 10, the first thing that everybody ate was what we brought. We were able to spread the the lifestyle, and instead of feeling judged, we were able to share with people. And so that's a way for it to grow and to avoid feeling like you're like the odd man out, right? Yes. And then the other thing was about the barbecue question. So, like there's a lot of debate in the barbecue community about, oh, is it pork, is it beef, is it this, is it Texas, is it Carolina? But really, when it comes down to it, barbecue is about like the process of cooking foods slowly over time, about sitting by the smoker, having a shot of whiskey with the guys, and putting out this gigantic spread of food for everybody to share. And so in the end, that was part of what attracted us to doing vegan barbecue, was to be able to create that community sort of feeling around food for people.
Mr. Danny, how are you?
Oh, hey, what's up?
Talking, who's the movie star? He's the movie star, right over there.
Hey, how are you? I'm Pedro. How's it going? Para minha surpresa, a gente acabou esbarrando no Danny Bowen, que é nada mais nada menos que um dos chefes mais respeitados dos Estados Unidos e também autor de um livro sobre veganismo super popular.
He is a star. He's a superstar. And growing up, the only thing that I had that was green and sauteed was like canned spinach, because I watched Popeye and I was like, oh, that's cool.
So I'm going to do a shameless plug right now. So he has a book coming out. It's a vegan cookbook.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, 2 weeks. It's called Mission Vegan.
You're very, very successful. You're not vegan. Why did you decide to write a book about veganism or with vegan recipes?
Because you don't have to be vegan to make vegan food or to eat vegan food. And it's very inclusive. I feel like chefs love a challenge. And for me, the biggest challenge a lot of times I had restaurants would be people coming in with dietary restrictions. And 10 years ago, it was kind of cool for chefs to turn their nose up at like that, be like, oh, it's my way or the highway. But it's way more exciting to be able to like offer people, give people what they want. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, even yesterday, the stuff we did at the youth market, everything was vegan. We didn't tell everyone that it was, but it was so everyone could have it, Mm-hmm. And that's the main reason why I did it, is because it was a challenge. It was a fun challenge. Even myself to not be able to lean on the crutches of like dairy and protein that I use in restaurants that I'd used for years, but also being able to showcase like and explore and understand more about vegetables, mm-hmm. Because everyone can eat it.
Amazing. Congrats.
Awesome. Yeah,
that's amazing. It's unavoidable to think of how paradoxical these two realities are. Here you are one day, the most celebrated, starred kitchen in the world. Yeah. The next day, using this same kitchen to feed the most underprivileged or vulnerable people. Are you the same Daniel Hum that was there before the pandemic?
No, not at all. Of course, sometimes you have these thoughts about, well, does it really make sense to spend so many hours about creating a dish in a world where there's also people who have no food at all? Does it make sense to cook just for the people who can afford to eat here? Mm-hmm. I mean, for sure I had conflicts of that nature. And then you sort of like also see that you're creating beauty and you're creating these beautiful moments for people, and it's an art form. And then
emotional journeys. And
that's also important,
Of
right?
course it is.
So
it's what makes life fun.
Yeah.
It's what makes life beautiful.
Yeah, for the ones who can afford it.
Yeah.
That's the conflict. During the pandemic, by the way, like when we would go out in these neighborhoods and we would hand out these meals day after day, and these people would come up to you and say, "You changed my life. This is some of the best food I've ever had." I mean, that was more meaningful than anything I've done before. And so I found this love for the language of food, really, again. And also realizing how powerful the language of food is. Yeah. So then, when it was clear that we could reopen, and this was still like more than a year away, I knew that I didn't want to open the same restaurant. I said, you know, let's spend the next year putting our best foot forward in reopening 11 Madison Park as a fully plant-based restaurant.
If we're talking in terms of nutrition, there is much more diversity nutrition-wise in vegetables than there are in animals.
Pesquisas mostram que a pecuária é um dos motivos por trás de 75% a 90% da destruição da Amazônia. É importante lembrar que o cultivo de soja, por exemplo, também é uma prática nociva. Então, essa ideia de que se você parar de comer animais, tudo vai mudar do dia para a noite, não é tão simples.
In the diversity, you have the gene pool that is going to allow us to select for some of the things, health, select for the ability to combat drought, you know, and so if we lose that gene pool, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. So that's another problem that we're facing, is the annihilation of that diversity. But it's being annihilated in many ways, by clear cropping in all parts of the world, but also by focusing on, say, 2 varieties of corn or 7 varieties of corn. So we need to preserve every kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom. They all have their places in our lives. When God created Earth, He put everything here. You know, you have to take into consideration a globe and not one perspective.
When I first started to design through the lens of veganism in fashion, I was using a lot of vegan leathers. And in those days, and it still is, there's a lot of chemicals in the vegan leathers. And yet, for me, it was more about the animals. Now I've started to really look at how can I combine sustainable practices, more plant-based, more earth-friendly materials with not using animals. One of the interesting things in fashion is that there are all of these people that are racing to get the first sort of plant-based vegan leather that is sustainable, but there's still a long way to go. There's a lot going on, and it's one of the most beautiful moments where science is meeting creativity and creating this new paradigm shift. And I do think that 10 years from now, it'll be a very different time.
Does it ever feel like a struggle, or even better, does it ever stop feeling like a struggle? This constant awareness, what you eat, what you wear, what you gift. Like, does it ever just become second nature?
I don't think it ever becomes second nature, but I do look at what I'm buying, what I'm gifting with a lot more consideration. I try to be more deliberate in my gifting. And I had a friend who only bought her daughter wooden toys. And I thought, oh, that's so severe. And yet now I look back on it thinking, gosh, that was very cool and very thoughtful.
Yeah. Before I try it, I have to ask you, what do you say to people that believe that vegan food doesn't taste as good as non-vegan food?
Yeah, they should try the food only. Then only they know how good it is, and not only taste, like, you know, when you eat it, you know, like you will feel the difference in your body.
What's next? I mean, you're so successful. Would you want to have a restaurant?
No, because the people love me like this. This is kind of like a landmark.
Yeah.
So it's listed in 42 countries, and people travel from all around the world. Some people come direct from the airport here because they don't want to miss the food.
Yeah.
So the food is like available. It's like coconut chutney we serve with the, all the dosas come with the coconut chutney. Lines are really long on Saturday, minimum like 1 hour waiting.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the longest lunch waiting place in New York right now. Yeah, people wait for Saturdays like maximum 3 hours.
And it's vegan?
We all vegan, yeah. That's why people make shocked, you know, everybody see the big line and people doesn't even know what it is. They wait in the line to check it out what it is.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
I'm lucky you're making me something.
People think that what they eat is based on personal choice only. And that is a part of it, right?
Yeah.
But what's available in your community? What can you afford? And why is it that way? Why can you afford food from a convenience store as opposed to organic food? Why is that? You know, the food industry is not the health industry. Thank you.
No worries.
The food industry is based on profit. It's not based on health. And what makes money is cheap food, right? So when people say it's too expensive to eat healthy, it's less expensive to eat, you know, these processed junky foods, it's because they're subsidized. But if the federal government subsidized healthy food, it would be cheaper to eat that way too. Why doesn't it do that? Because the industry is based on profit. So it is absolutely by design. What people eat is the biggest factor in how healthy they will be.
Food heals. You need omegas, so you eat purslane. You're prescribed omegas because you have certain problems in your lipid content. You know, so you can get omegas from salmon, but you could also get them from plant-based. So it's just the diversity of plants is, you know, so much more. Most of your medicines before modern pharmacology were derived mostly from plants. Yeah, you derive some from animals, but it's mostly from plant-based.
We have to understand that we're operating in context. I also came to understand that more people die because of the unhealthy food that they eat than other issues like police brutality, right? Police kill about 1,000 to 3,000 people a year, but 300,000 African Americans die every year from preventable diet-related diseases. I'm not trying to compare.
No.
I'm trying to say that they're both urgent and they're both public health crises, and we should know about this. Food is already political. It is never, ever just personal. You also have a medical industry that is built on profit. It's getting a little better now. The lifestyle medicine is something that more and more students are interested in. So that is changing. But in general, your healthcare professional is not going to have expertise in plant-based nutrition, right? They don't know to tell their patients about it.
Mais ou menos 6% dos americanos se consideram vegetarianos. Esse número não muda há umas 2 décadas. Mas o veganismo está cada vez mais popular. A estimativa é que no mundo inteiro, mais de 80 milhões de pessoas hoje se considerem veganas. Is the future vegan?
Yes, the future is vegan. The present is also vegan. For me, I want people to make it their normal, to make it their everyday, to think like they are living in a vegan world. That's what I did 35 years ago.
This is called husk cherry. It's from the tomato family. It's beautiful. It comes with the wrap. And if you want to go further and decorate it, you can dip it in chocolate.
Why do you think people are so resistant when what you're trying to do is something that's good for them?
There is negativity around veganism. Some people are really turned off by that term. You know, it's not like the most sexy thing.
What messaging did they get?
Yep.
You have a food industry that will lose money if people stop eating their products, right? It took me a year to let go of cheese, but I kept reading about how unhealthy it is and the cruelty involved in producing it while I was eating my cheese pizza.
It's funny because a lot of vegans, when they talk about food, they're like, oh, I miss cheese. And now, actually, there are some amazing cheeses out there that are plant-based.
There's a lot of limitations. But plant-based eating is actually expansive. It's not limiting at all. And so I think just changing how people view it.
Yes.
But I do feel very hopeful, and I do think there are ways to slowly shift how people see this. It's just going to take some time.
What am I going to eat here?
All right, so the sandwich is our barbecue seitan sandwich. And it's basically our bestseller, kind of the thing that our company has kind of been built on. The salad features our pulled oyster mushrooms, which are done in like a Carolina-style barbecue sauce. So it's a little vinegar and cayenne. It's a little spicier, and some Asian pear because that's part of my heritage that I want to bring to the.
Amazing. I'm going to start with your staple.
Yeah.
I love barbecue, so. That's really good. Love the mix of textures. There's a crunchiness to it, but there's a softness to it. There is a sweetness to it, and a spiciness to it. It's super complex.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
I'm making little smaller so you can try everything.
I love it.
That's a special Pondicherry samosa and
Oh, man.
small uttapam. So for you try it and then let me know. You take care of the gentleman, the masala dosa.
The moment of truth. Thank you, Tiru.
Thank you.
Olha, cheiroso. Agora, ele perguntou se eu gosto de pimenta. Eu falei que gosto. Quero ver se o picante do Sri Lanka é tão poderoso quanto o picante da Bahia. É muito bom. Mas é muito bom. E existe essa ilusão de que comida vegana não tem proteína. Isso aqui está cheio de proteína. Ele usa mais de 5 tipos diferentes de lentilha, por exemplo. A ideia de uma dieta sem qualquer produto animal me parecia uma coisa, assim, muito distante da minha realidade. Agora eu vou provar a samosa. Mas eu acho que a gente tem muita sorte de viver num mundo em que a gente tem opções, em que a roupa que a gente usa pode ser comprada, usada, confeccionada de uma maneira mais consciente. O que está no nosso prato pode vir carregado de uma consciência menos cruel.
You know, the goal of what we're doing here, it really has so much meaning now. I do believe what we're doing matters. And when I wake up in the morning, I know why I wake up. And it's not to put my names on 100 other restaurants. It's to come to this kitchen and to do this. To create, you know, a restaurant that is fully plant-based, that is as magical, as beautiful, as delicious as any. and maybe even more.
Para quem acha que comida vegana não é gostosa, venha ao Doçameno e prove.
What do I want to see? I want to see 10 million black women go vegan. And if I can help 1 million black women a year go vegan over the next 10 years, I will be very satisfied with that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Quem sabe, talvez o futuro realmente seja muito mais vegano do que o nosso presente é.
They're not customers, all right? This is not about customers. It's about forming relationships and lasting relationships. So that's what we attempt to do here, and so far so good.
Amazing. My grandmother is from the north of Brazil, close to the Amazon. And I said, Grandma, what's for dessert? And she was like, today's fruit. And I'm like, fruit's not dessert. No.
Exactly.
See the camera, say hello. Hello.